Thank you for joining me today on this week's tarot tutorial and welcome to the pack. So this week I will be breaking down the symbolism and the meaning of the Hierophant. I'm Heather Ellis and I've been reading tarot for over 30 years. I combine the traditional meanings of the cards with intuitive insights to bring forward messages meant to guide you. Here on my channel, I help you find clarity in love, money, and well-being, whether you're here for a reading or to learn tarot yourself. My goal is to support you in living with more purpose and self-trust. If you are interested in the free tarot readings for your zodiac sign, be sure to check out my weekly tarot readings. You'll find the link to this week's video in this description below. This week I have posted the new moon readings, so be sure to check those out as well. You'll find the link at the very end of the video. And if you find value in today's video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel grow and does help let me know what content you enjoy and what you want to see more of. Now let's jump right into learning all about the Hierophant. And I got my Hierophant card. I am just going to glue it down. I'm using the color red today. And okay. So if you're following along with me, that's great. Or for those of you who are, watching the video and following along later, that's great too. Or those that are just watching, whatever works for you. I'm going to just tip this sideways so I can write a little easier. So here we have the Hierophant. And when you look at the Hierophant card, there is this image of a pope or high priest seated above two disciples. The disciples are down here. And they are positioned below him at the bottom corners of the card. The Hierophant here, being above them, is an authority figure, a preserver of knowledge, and acts as a role model to those that are below him or of lesser knowledge. The disciples below him choose to follow the Hierophant and benefit from his knowledge. So some of the elements that we see in this card is we see the triple crown, 1, 2, 3. We see the two priests kneeling before him. We have the three crosses that are down the Hierophant's robes, and then also this cross shape right here. We have some keys here at the bottom. We have the three-tiered throne. We also have in numerology the number 5, and in astrology, the Hierophant is related to the sign of Taurus. So now we're going to look at each of these elements separately, and we're going to start with the triple crown. So I'm going to just put over here, we have the triple crown. So I'm going to write triple crown. And the triple crown, the Hierophant is wearing this triple crown representing his authority over the physical, the spiritual, and intellectual realms. It also symbolizes his authority over the, symbolizes his connection between the divine and earthly matters. So I'm just going to I'm just checking my video for just a moment, making sure that I am recording. Okay, sorry about that. I just had a moment. So triple crown, I'm going to put authority over physical, spiritual, and intellectual. And then again, it also represents that connection between the divine and earthly matters. Then we have the two priests that are kneeling here before him. I'm going to write these down here. So I'm just going to write two priests. And so this suggests the transmission of spiritual wisdom and the role of the Hierophant as a teacher. The two figures are kneeling before him, and they represent those who seek knowledge and initiation. The disciple on the left, so over here, he has red roses on his tunic, and that represents his passion to learn. And then we have the disciple here on the right, And he has white lilies on his tunic, and this represents the purity of his motives to learn. So I'm going to put, with the disciples, I'm going to put left, and then red roses, and passion to learn. So like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put right, white lilies, and that is this is his purity of his motives to learn. So just purity of motives. Okay. Just going to move this up a little tiny bit so you can see better. And then we have the three crosses that are down the Hierophant's robes and the horizontal bar at the height of the human heart right here. So these are symbols, the crosses are symbols of human compassion and compassion for the physical, the spiritual, and intellectual well-being of others. So that's what the three crosses represent, that physical, spiritual, and intellectual well-being of others, and empathy for the human condition. So I'm going to put three crosses and then horizontal bar at heart. Okay, so again, these are symbols of compassion. So human compassion and compassion for physical, spiritual, and intellectual well-being of others. Okay. And then we're going to move on to the keys next. So the keys, they're really hard to see in this picture. You see them right down here. Okay. Um, so the keys, they symbolize spiritual power and the opening of the divine knowledge. So they can also represent the opening of doors or access to wisdom from access to wisdom that is hidden from the uninitiated as well. So, okay, I'm just looking to see where I can fit this in here. I'm going to write it really small and just going to put the keys here. Okay. So, um, so opening of divine knowledge and access to wisdom. So normally that wisdom would be hidden from the uninitiated individuals. And then we also have the three-tiered throne. So this is the symbolizes the connection to between heaven, earth, and the underworld. So this reinforces the Hierophant's role as an intermediary between the divine and the human realms. So I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to write so three-tiered. I'm going to pull this down. I'm stretching. Three-tiered throne. So, connection between heaven, earth, and underworld. And again, so this reinforces the Hierophant's role as the intermediary between the divine and the human realm. And then we're going to move on to the numerology. So the numerology is the number 5. So I'm going to put number 5. And the number 5 is associated with change, adaptability, and challenge. And it represents freedom, but also instability. And the Hierophant reminds you to find balance in tradition and spiritual growth. So, number 5 is change, adaptability, and challenge. I'm going to put freedom and instability. Ability, and I think I spelled that wrong. And also balance in tradition and spiritual growth. Balance. Oh, I'm having trouble spelling today. Balance in tradition and spiritual growth. Okay. And then with astrology, I'm going to just write astrology. The Hierophant is related to Taurus. And why is that? Taurus is all about, oh my goodness, I cannot spell today. Taurus is all about stability, right? Yeah, finding that balance, that structure, stability, perseverance, hardworking. So I'm going to put Taurus and then I'm going to write stability, but also traditions and the fixed aspects of life. Taurus is also really about the tangible, what we can touch, feel, right? The senses, engaging the senses. There's a bit of Venusian energy there. So tradition and fixed aspects of life. Kind of like butchered my spelling here. Okay, so now when we get into the interpretation of the Hierophant represents a teacher, tradition, structure, an institute or organization, as well as spiritual wisdom. It is a card of learning, guidance, and spiritual teaching. And this card often calls for seeking knowledge through established systems, such as religion, education, or spiritual practices. It is also about staying connected to your traditions while adapting to new wisdom, learning new materials or a new subject based on progressive steps or stages, such as learning the basics and then moving to the next layer. And this is what will make learning more enjoyable. It will improve proficiency and it will create a stable foundation of knowledge. Okay, so we're going to start with that, and I'm going to put interpretation up here. So I'm just going to put represents, teacher, tradition, structure. Can be an institute or organization. So organization slash institute. Spiritual wisdom. Okay. It is a card of learning, guidance, and spiritual teaching. It often, again, calls for seeking knowledge through established systems like religion, education, spiritual practices. So in that way, it can represent learning by actually going to school, call it like college or university. So I'm just going to put seeking knowledge through, I'm going to put study, school. It's also about staying connected to traditions while adapting to new wisdom. So Um, I'm going to put maintaining traditions and adapting to new wisdom. Like it's incorporating that new wisdom into the traditions that already exist, not a complete overhaul of traditional wisdom and knowledge. So it's also learning new materials or subjects based on progressive steps and stages. So using steps and stages in the learning process. And why is that? Because it feels like, as you know, you learn the beginning stages, or it's like learning math. You can't do intense algebra or anything like that, or you have to learn the basics, right? And you have to learn your bed mass before you can start doing complex calculations, right? So it's that kind of idea here. So using steps and stages in the learning process to improve proficiency and stable foundation of knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to now go over and highlight how this could potentially play out in other types of readings or specific types of readings. So, for example, if you were doing a career reading, the Hierophant can indicate that, or indicates that a practical approach to your career and work life will provide favorable outcomes and opportunities for climbing the corporate ladder. And it can also indicate a career in academia, teaching, or training others. When you are looking at a relationship reading, the Hierophant indicates that your friends and family approve of your partner and or that your partner has a similar background, experiences, or upbringing to yours and that you share similar values and beliefs. When you're looking at a health reading, the Hierophant can indicate issues with the throat, the neck, the jaw, or shoulders, because those are traditionally also Taurus areas of the body, and that a traditional or conservative medical approach is in order to treat something. When we Now we're going to get into the Hierophant reversed, and I'm gonna move my book up so you can see the bottom here. So I'm going to put reversed. So when we look at the Hierophant reversed, this can actually represent a breaking away from traditions and seeking new ideas and new possibilities. It can also indicate that it is time for you to take responsibility for your own learning or spiritual pursuits rather than continue to rely on mentors and teachers and gurus and that kind of thing. With respect to career, the reversed Hierophant can indicate unusual employment or employment opportunities, such as self-employment, contract work, or a unique career field, or also even just not a regular like 9 to 5 schedule in your career. When we're looking at relationships, and relationships can include romantic partnerships, but also business partnerships as well, remember. So the Hierophant can indicate a partnership that is unusual, but it works well and contributes to the growth of each individual that's involved in that partnership, such as partners from diverse backgrounds, cultures, religious beliefs, etc. And when we're looking at a health reading, the reversed Hierophant will suggest that looking into alternative or complementary therapies might be a good idea for you. Or, if you're if you do have a health issue and you're following that tried true to traditional medicine, you might want to add on complementary type of therapies. Like perhaps you might want to do like acupuncture or acupressure or go to a chiropractor or even like Reiki and energy healing, like those kinds of things. So I am just going to write down here at the bottom, I'm just going to do that general type of reading reverse with the Hierophant. So again, this can represent breaking away from tradition. So I'm going to just write breaking away from traditions and seeking new ideas and possibilities. And also, the other big thing with it is taking responsibility for your own learning, right? Or spiritual pursuits. So, taking responsibility for own learning slash spiritual pursuits. Um, I'm going to just write down on here as well, like not relying on mentors. I'm going to do mentors slash gurus. Okay. Okay. And there we have it. That is our Hierophant. Thank you for joining me today on your path of learning. Join me next week when we dive into the lovers. If you found today's video informative, fun, or both, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And again, check out my free weekly tarot readings for your sun, moon, and rising sign. Have a fantastic week and take care.